Chin was also a part of Cathalevia as well. And it was in 1992 that I got my very first opportunity to do a commercial on in Jamaica, which was a chiffon margarine commercial, which I did with
Right.
Tam back in 1992. So that was at the beginning of almost like a professional journey, because that was the first time I was being paid, and that was at age 11.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
You got a taste of that, and 10
Absolutely.
years after that, when you were 21, you moved to LA, but you were going to go pursue a degree in marketing. How come performing arts wasn't on that list of pursuits?
Well, performing arts had never stopped. It was always in the mix, because after I left with the people, I actually joined the NETC.
Mm,
I worked with the NETC for a number of years as a principal dancer, and I also performed with Father Holong and Friends
right.
in his shows from 1995 to about 2006. So for many years, that's always a part of the arts. And when I moved to California, I was still performing with the NETC by flying to New York or Canada, wherever they were, to perform with them. The marketing thing pretty much was me trying to figure out what I could do alongside the professional career that I was also pursuing.
Right.
And I have a degree that would complement that, and it was marketing.
All right.
Yeah.
Making that sort of very practical decision to is it, they have this something to fall back on, kind of.
No,
Oh
never,
no,
but something to complement the stuff that I'm doing, because
got
as
it.
we go through the conversation, you'll find out the other work that I'm doing here in London, which requires those skills.
Ah, I see, I
Yeah,
see, I see. It was purposeful. It wasn't okay, just in case this doesn't work out, because you knew it was going to work out.
absolutely.
Wonderful.
So it was intentional, I would
What
say.
gave you that sort of confidence because you're talking about a time when
Hmm.
we probably, maybe now culturally people are more receptive to the idea that non-traditional things such as sports and performing arts and so on can be meaningful, financially
Right.
sensible careers. Yes, we know about the music business in terms of DJs and artists and so on, but we're talking about performing arts. You're talking about people who ply their trade on the stage in theater.
Right.
And yeah, we do have local actors and so on. So there's a sense that it's something that you could do, but there's always this feeling like, is it something you could do by itself and have a life that you can fulfill all your dreams and have a nice home and so on and so forth? Because you'll see actors in this market, yes, they'll seem fairly happy and content. And obviously, if you love performing, you get to perform, then you'll be a little bit more upbeat than a normal person who is perhaps doing a 9 to 5. But it's not usually the kind of profession you look at and say, oh, you could become very wealthy. Not that you're going to focus on wealth, right? But you know how parents are and how we're socialized to think about what you're going to do with your life and what can you do with that? Can you feed a family being on stage? So how did you know that this is something that could do that for you?
You're absolutely right. So in Jamaica, many people didn't think that the performing arts was a viable career. Right.
Right.
So they would oftentimes discourage you from it, pursuing that. But this was something that I was born with. I knew that from a very young age. And the fact that, my journey was so positive, doing the commercial, also getting a role on Royal that I was a part of for some time, doing other commercials as well in Jamaica, touring internationally with the company, with NETC, and doing Father Holong and Friends. All those experiences prepared me for where I am today. When I moved to California and I was in school, I was teaching, I was working with different companies. And then one day my brother's girlfriend said to me, look, she was an actress, and she said, look, they're doing a casting downtown LA. You need to go. They're looking for Black guys. Went to the casting. There were like 50 guys in that particular room, and the casting director walked around at 5, and I was one of the 5. Then we had this other casting in the same production when they went into the audience, and it was like, what, 500 people sitting in the audience, and they came and they chose 3, and I was one of the 3, and that was for the Dreamgirls film that I
Mhm.
did back in 2006. So I just knew that things were just lining up for my professional career. I was very passionate. I was very disciplined. Coming out of the little people system that really laid the foundation for me, I knew that it was in my path. And so I just stayed focused, and I just pursued it with all my heart.
Right. And staying focused and having that pursuit, you play bands. What's the name of the character that you do in Lion King?
So the Lion King, I play the role of Banzai, which is one of the lead hyenas in the musical. I'm sure you remember the cartoon. You remember?
Oh, so you're a villain.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, very different from my personality because I'm not a villain. I don't have that kind of personality in real life. But yeah, I really enjoy playing the role because it's so different from who I am.
How did that opportunity happen? I mean, is it one of those, picked from 500, picked from 5,000 kind of
No,
experience
it
you just
was a
talked about?
different kind of journey because when I was living in LA, I got an email that Lion King was flying down to Jamaica to do the auditions because I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the choreographer for Lion King is Jamaican. His name is Garth Fagan, and he won a Tony Award for work for the Lion King, which they opened back in 1999. And so Lion King tours, well, goes all over the world, particularly the Caribbean, to look for dancers. And so I got an email that they were coming to Jamaica to audition. So I contacted my dad and I said, look, I'm finished with school and Lion King is coming to Jamaica. This is a great opportunity for me to, go down and audition. And I just remembered because, over the years, we're just having this back and forth about me being in the arts and me not being in the arts. And my father said to me, look, I would never want to say years down the line that I never helped you. So I'm going to get the ticket for you. So he bought me the ticket, came down to Jamaica, didn't tell anybody I was coming down. Audition, went back, didn't hear anything for months. Nothing for months.
Right.
About whether or not I was selected. And I was patient. And I remember emailing the producer and said, look, I'm still available if there's any opportunities. And I think that email, he read that email and there was an opportunity for the London cast and I was casted as a dancer in the show. Mm-hmm. So I started out as a dancer. And then over the years of being in the show, there were opportunities to be an understudy for one of the principals because I kept my eye on one particular role, which was the Banzai role. And then I had one audition, didn't get it. Had another audition, didn't get it, the cover. And then the third one, I got the cover. And I was playing that cover for a number of years. And then the opportunity for Mufasa came about, which is the king, right, which is Simba's dad. And I auditioned for that a couple of times, didn't get it. And then the last time I auditioned, I got it. And then there was an opportunity now that this guy who was actually playing Banzai for the past 14 years was leaving the show, right? So now his role was up for grabs.
Right.
And I thought I was going to get the role having covered the role for so many years, but they actually brought somebody else into the show from another to do the show. So I had to literally wait 3 years before getting roles. And then I finally did.
This is not an easy road. What keeps you going? I mean, apart from that positive energy that, I was born to do this and I'm going to do it, but what keeps you going? Because it must get disappointing sometimes.
Yes, but you see, because I'm a man of faith, right? I stand firm in my faith. And I know that this was a calling for my life because of the adverse that I experienced growing up, as it relates to the arts. And, the rejection just kept me pursuing and pushing more because I knew that this was something that I wanted to do. And I know people always think that, oh, you're so positive, so positive. But, when you wake up in the morning and all you feel is the arts, the singing, the dancing, the acting, when everything that you do is your life is, surrounded by that. It's just a natural kind of progression for me. And so, what was good about being in the Lion King is that I was in a very safe space to actually fail. Do you know what I mean? So if it didn't work well, I still had a job. Mm-hmm. So I always keep trying. I was never fired from the role that I had. So it was a matter of me just being patient and just waiting for my time. And it paid off.
How long have you been playing the role now?
So I've been playing Banzai for, I want to say 6-7 years, maybe. Yeah. But I've been in Lion King much longer than that.
Right. Because you did say that you dance and then you did Musafa and Mufasa and then now you're playing this role. You mentioned earlier that your marketing is being used in some of the other stuff you're doing in London. But before you share that with me, you talked about how some of the other things that that you'd have learned in Kathy Devi and the teen players
Mm,
are you're using them now. That's a
mm,
very important thing, because sometimes we're going through stuff and you're being exposed to something you can't quite see how it's going to fit.
mm.
What are you using now, and what's the lesson you would offer to somebody who is listening on and maybe even feeling a little frustrated with just the process?
Right. Well, I mentor a lot of young people here in London. I actually prepare a lot of dancers for the show. They come to my class, and I speak with them all the time, in terms of, how it is they need to prepare themselves for the rigor of a show like The Lion King, because The Lion King is like no other show,
Mhm.
right? And so, to answer your question, what are some of the things that I'm applying? So, as I said to you, that the curriculum that Miss Levy provided for us was really at a very high standard. Puppetry was one thing that she exposed us to. And in the show, I have to use the bonsai puppet, which is a hyena. And so, just knowing how to use your body, contour your body in a particular way, bring life to the puppet that you're using. Those are kind of skills that she kind of passed on to me. And as a dancer, I'm able to embody that in a very holistic way. Yeah. And so you kind of talk about that kind of experience, because a lot of dancers only know how to move their body as it relates to them, you know, owning their kind of like their limbs and thing. And so when you know have the puppet, you have to know adapt. So you're using this inanimate object, for example, which is like a quadruped for me because I'm on four. And so I'm trying to marry those two together. So they asked me, how am I able to apply that? And I said, well, it's a good thing that when you understand your body, you're then able to translate it into something else that's inanimate and bring life to it. And that takes time, but you also have to put the work into it. And as it relates to kind of like guiding people, I always say, bloom wherever you're planted. Allow your gift, always know that your gift will always make room for you. Those are kind of things that I encourage my artists to really think about. What is it that you're passionate about? And, always surround yourself with people who can feed into your passions.
What is the I saw Shirley Lee Ralph winning, having won the Emmy and preparing, giving her speech.
Yeah.
And one of the things everybody would know about Shirley Lee Ralph is everybody knows that she's Jamaican,
Mm.
even though she's has obviously in Hollywood and does TV and films. How does your Jamaicanness help you in your work you're doing now in London?
Let me tell you, I am so proud to be a Jamaican. And I'm going to tell you this because as I left Jamaica and I went to university, the fact that I was Jamaican, it got me so many things. I'm telling you, right? The fact that my accent was different from everybody, I was almost exotic, and, even though I can, speak in an American accent, I always, held on to my Jamaicanness. I never ever left that, because that's what has helped me to kind of navigate this professional space that I'm in. And the life lessons that we learn in Jamaica, the discipline that have been passed on to us, all of those quotes and sayings that, like I remember my godmother, not my godmother, my stepmother telling me before I left LA to come to London, she said, when you go to London, make sure don't count the cows but drink the milk. It's just things like that. That you remember. So anytime you face any kind of adversity or in a situation where you feel compromised, you remember those things because they encourage you
Right.
and they keep you grounded.
What else are you doing in London that you're using your marketing degree for?
Yeah, so I have a program called Blake Arts. It's a mentoring and training program for professional and pre-professional artists ages 16 and over. And I've been training young people since 2009. I
Mm.
went to New York and I did my pedagogy teaching at Avenue School, and and ever since then I've been using that because when I started The Lion King many years ago, the dancers here in the UK went up to one of the dance captains and said, "Look, we've been trying to get into Lion King, and we every time we come, we can never get past the first and second round." And I realized that there wasn't a space for the artists to train to prepare themselves for the show, so I started a
Mhm.
program, and
Right.
since a number of dancers have gone into either the Lion King London, the Lion King UK tour by me training them over the years. So I've done that for, over 10 years. And obviously, the administrative skills that you need, the marketing skills that you need in terms of like creating the program, the pedagogy skills that you use in terms of like creating the curriculum. That's another thing. And then I went back to school to do my master's in arts administration because I wanted to do grant writing, learn about that. And I was able to do, when the pandemic happened and we were all kind of shut down, there was nobody doing anything. I wrote a proposal to the Arts Council. I created this project called Melanin Migration Brothers in Arms. And we were able to come together. I created a curriculum in financial literacy, career strategic management, and mental health. And it was a pilot program that was supposed to help the artists to kind of like navigate the pandemic and the economic disruption to our lives and the theater industry.
Right.
I created this program so that I could probably use it as a template beyond, where we are at the time.
Right. So I mean, genuinely, turn your hand, make fashion kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Using everything that you have.
Yeah.
David, so how long do you do? Because obviously you're setting yourself up for other types of opportunities, eh?
Yeah.
How long do you do Banzai for before you
I always tell people it's not about how long I do Banzai. So Banzai is that thing that is right here by itself on one side, but David does everything else around Banzai. So whenever I'm, when I ever feel physically that I'm no longer able to do Banzai, that's probably when I would stop. But everything else has always been working along simultaneously. And I think actually, doing all of these things on the side, actually, I don't want to say on the side, but simultaneously allows me to go to Lion King every single day and do that job 100% because it has afforded me and created a platform for me to do these other things as well.
Well, congratulations to you. It sounds like you're one of those typical success stories of Jamaicans who go take opportunity. And as you said, bloomery planted, you work and work and work. And now you enjoy the fruits of your labor with doing exactly what you want to do, plus more.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So David, if ever I'm in, hopefully you haven't stopped yet by the time I get to London to be able to go to West End. I might come and see the play just to see and be proud that another Jamaican is out there doing great things. Congratulations to you. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us. That's David Blake, who is a performing artist. What do you call yourself?
Performing artist and all these other things,
right.
Things. But I mean, as it relates to this particular interview, I call myself a performing artist. Yeah.
There you go. Performing artist, playing the role of Banzai, Lion King in London and West End.
Yeah.
We'll talk again soon, David. That takes care of our interview. I've got some news. Do you have online, right? So the Sterling Gospel Music Awards